Hello! This is gonna be a pretty different video from what I usually do. I have been keeping save files of my project, my videos, to be able to show you how I do my edits, how I edit the videos, what it looks like, how I've done certain edits, and how simple details sometimes are very subtle, but very important to making the whole video just a better viewing experience. So let's dive right into it. So the saves that I have are the Animal Crossing, the Witcher video, the Other World video, and those are pretty much it. But I'm gonna be diving in some old videos too to show you examples of errors and mistakes that I've made before. So I'm gonna show you 2 or 3 edits from the Witcher video. I couldn't possibly go over all of them because the video is 30-minute long, but it'll give you a little idea of like how very complicated edits can sometimes take hours to make, although they're a couple seconds long. The most complicated edit in that video probably is the Goose game edit. This is all a remade background that is just very far so that it can slide from one end of the path to the other end without interruptions. The Gerald that's running there is from Gmod. It's me with a Gerald player model in a green screen map, and I had to find a like trend mill from the workshop to make me run in place to create the impression that I'm running here, but it's the background that's moving. And then you place it at the right place, and there you go, you have a Gerald running. The Goose though is from the game. It's from a video of a playthrough, and since the game has very flat colors, so the grass is a very flat color, the same color everywhere, I was easily able to mask it. So basically what I did is I took a moment where he steps and then comes back to the position of the same step and use that clip and duplicated it so it looks like it's running, but it's running in place actually. And then the sword is just an added element that I matched the motion of the beak of the goose here. It's a sword I made in Photoshop as well. So that's that gives you a little idea of how many assets are hand created everywhere in my videos. Editing is not necessarily hard. It's very time consuming, especially when you have to match stuff frame by frame, which happens a lot of the time. In the Witcher vid here, there's a lightsaber edit here. The white part of the saber is a solid color that I had to mask. So you basically have here every single frame in that shot that has to be manually placed. And then you duplicate that, but make the color red and place it under the other color. And then you just use blur, so it looks like it's glowing.
I smell it. Ghouls.
I'm gonna be moving to the second video, which is the Animal Crossing video. The Animal Crossing has some good edits. For example here, the horror film thing, where the face of the villager appears right here on the side. In the movie, what happens is some hands come out and clap. So what I basically had to do is mask out the hands. Unfortunately, I lost some of her hair, but in real time, nobody's gonna notice that because it's in darkness. And if you put it for the whole duration of the thing, then it looks like it's just darkness there for the whole time. And you basically just had to make the villager appear here with a mask that starts as a very small circle and then progressively gets bigger, so it looks like his face is actually coming out of the darkness.
Hello?
The Animal Crossing video doesn't have that many edits, but the ones that are there are very good. I recommend you go watch it, but I'm gonna switch to the next one, because the Outer Worlds video has some stuff that I've started doing at that very point. So a thing I've started doing with the Outer Worlds video is very subtle, but I think adds a lot more to the experience. I have started using blur as a way to focus the action on some text on screen instead of having only a zoom, which anybody can read around it. Example here, in story mode, enemies have less health and do less damage. That's what I want the viewer to focus on. So if I don't have blur here, they're just gonna like be distracted by the ship around it, or the select difficulty, or the other text. So what I've done here, I added a defocus effect so that people can actually focus on the text. It's not that big of an edit for focusing reasons and making the viewer comfortable and taking their attention and put it at a specific part of the video. This makes all the difference. For the shooting myself in the leg edit, that I call it. It's a weird name, should probably not call it that. The most difficult part of that edit is finding the text. One of the hardest aspects of video making is authenticity. If you want to replicate an UI or an interface from somewhere else, you gotta have the right text or the right elements so that it feels authentic. So this text right here is supposed to be from Modern Warfare 3 where the mission says objective failed. I wanted to have the real text, but finding text online is extremely difficult. To have the real thing, you gotta dig very, very deep. And that goes with sound also. I think the best person to tell you this is the one true Stan. So let's hear it.
Hi, my name's The One True Stan, and I do videos over on my own channel. What I'm here to talk about is how difficult it can be to find assets for videos sometimes when you need something very specific. A great example of this is that one time I needed a font for Majora's Mask. You know Majora's Mask, it's the best Zelda game. Fight me, Breath of the Wild is not that good. Anyway, so I just started looking up stuff online thinking, okay, this can't be that hard. It's an incredibly popular game that's been out for 20 years, right? Wrong. Very wrong. I looked all over the goddamn internet for maybe 3 hours following breadcrumb trails from forums people posted like 8 years ago. Eventually, I found one small little lead a guy mentioned on some Zelda forum from like 2005. He left a link to some website that was all in Russian, and by just process of elimination and going through, you know, every single goddamn thing posted on this website, which wasn't secured, I probably got a virus from it. I eventually found the font in a zip file that was just kind of randomly posted in the middle of this goddamn Russian message board. Like, I couldn't read anything on the website. I just saw the zip and I said, this is probably safe. Downloaded it and there we go. The sheer amount of effort it took to get that was absurd. Anyway, yeah, so sometimes if you see an edit and you think, oh, that's funny, and you get a little chuckle from it, it's actually very difficult to make, so have a little bit of respect. Also, sub to Jocab and sub to The One True Stan.
The best thing to have when video editing is stock footage or like chroma keyed footage, because that saves us a massive amount of work. So what I did for the GLaDOS edit was basically remove the black from the background of the smoke, duplicate the smoke so that it comes from both sides, and use a color corrector so that the smoke, instead of being white, is green, so it's gas. I think the Powerpuff Girls edit in that video is one of the best edits I've ever made. Honestly, it comes together very well. So let's take a look at that edit. What I've done here is basically, I've taken out the parts where the guy says sugar, spices, and everything that's good, and replaced it with code, writing, and graphics, because those are the elements you need to make a game. So what I've done here is mask the sugar here with a white square, and then add code. I didn't have to mask anything else until the chemical X part. In that glass bottle, there are waves on each like 4 frames. So I had to mask a white square to match those waves. If I change the color here of the square, you're gonna be able to see it.
Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction.
Subsurface scattering. I wanted to show another example from the Inferno video, but unfortunately I don't have the save file. The part where the chimney smokes like crazy because I'm burning a lot of stuff. I wanted really thick black smoke, but none of the footage that I could find was thick, it was just wispy. If you look at the smoke from the chimney, it's not actually smoke. This is actually ink. It's ink from one of the Slow-Mo Guys video, in which they pump ink in water in an aquarium and film them in slow motion. What I did was basically take that footage, chroma key the white, make it black and white, and then pump the contrast to make it even darker, and then speed it up. And then it just looks like smoke. The audio works that also goes into these edits is very complex. Sometimes to make it sound right, you gotta mix a lot of sounds. The same edit is very good for an example of, about audio mixing, because it combines train horns, train track sounds, earthquakes, snow falling sound, wind sounds, shaking, a flamethrower sound. Have I made editing mistakes in the past that are still in the videos? Absolutely. A good example of that is the Pickles Cage video. That video has interlacing in it. If I go through it frame by frame, you can see that the images distort. The first Left 4 Dead 2 video, in which I made the video in 60 frames per second instead of 59.940, so some of the edits in there are basically one of the best edits I've ever made is completely ruined by that bug, basically. It's the Pokemon edit. On my end, when I was editing it, there wasn't any of that. But if I go frame by frame, you can see the parts that I've masked showing up when the whole screen shakes. And that's only because 0.06 additional frames per second were there. And you can all still go check, the editing mistakes are still all in there. That was pretty much it for this video. I could have shown you many more edits because my videos are completely filled with them. But this video would take hours and hours. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a little insight on how much work goes into them. And let me know if you want more behind the scenes. I'd be happy to make more. But yeah, thank you for watching. And goodbye.